I mentioned this small safety trial that we're doing. Took a while to get it off the ground, but I'm pleased to report we're more than two-thirds of the way through it. It's small, it's a safety trial looking at changes in some markers, but the concept is removing these EVs help the body fight against metastasis, the spread of cancer.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is James Frakes. He is the CEO of Aethlon Medical. And James, it's good to see you. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, excited a little bit more about the company and your really interesting product that you have. First off, let's talk about the company. Tell me a bit about it.
Well, we're a small medical device company. We're headquartered in San Diego, California, in the United States. We have an investigational product called the Hemopurifier. I don't know if you can see it here. It's a medical device that fits in the global infrastructure of dialysis machines and other blood pumping devices that are in hospitals and clinics worldwide. Our device is hooked up to one of those pumping machines, and a patient's, I'll talk about the types of patients that we're trying to work with later. They sit in a chair, that they're hooked up to the pumping machine. The blood flows through our device. There are many little strands inside this cartridge with little pores of 200 nanometers. And as the blood is flowing through, the plasma comes out through the little pores, and then it binds to the sandy-like material outside the fibers. Our technology is basically there. We have this plant lectin that grabs onto the carbohydrate or sugary surfaces of viruses and of cancerous particles called extracellular vesicles. I'll call them EVs. And then it comes back, pushed back in by the pressure, and then back into the patient. So this could go from 4 to 6 hours. Each pass, some of these viruses or EVs are removed. And the hypothesis is it gives the patient's immune system a better chance to fight the whatever the malady is.
Yeah, so in essence, are you purifying the blood then, trying to take some of the stuff out of it? I don't want to say purifying because that's not really
Well, effectively that's a good description.
okay.
And so, hence the name, the Hemopurifier.
Yeah, yeah. So in essence, it's the person's own blood, and you're trying to take some of that, whatever the disease may be, or the thing that their ailment, you're trying to pull some of that out.
We're extracting through this technique where we're not adding drugs, we're not doing anything into the body other than removing outside the body those factors in the blood. The Food and Drug Administration here in the United States, the FDA, has given us two breakthrough device designations. One for virus, life-threatening viruses that have no approved therapy, and the other is for cancer, again, where there's life-threatening situations. So our history is in virology. I'm the longtime chief financial officer here and was named chief executive officer roughly 3 years ago. And I've redirected our efforts toward cancer oncology. And we're doing a small safety study in Australia. They have a very favorable tax rebate where around 43% of dollars spent in Australia is reimbursed. They want to boost their life science industry, which is great.
So Jim, do you see this as a you mentioned the viral infections, and we're talking about like Ebola, H5N1, things like that, and then on the cancer side, something. Do you see it as one area where you think you should move forward first and try to continue through this? What's sort of the plan to move forward here?
That's a great question. Historically, I use this very lay analogy that we were like a bunch of firemen sitting in the firehouse waiting for a fire to break out. Now, for instance, there is a fire right now in Africa with the current strain of Ebola. We did in 2014, our device was used against a direly ill physician that contracted Ebola, treating patients in Africa. He was medevaced to the Frankfurt University Hospital in Germany, and he had a 6.5 hour treatment and ended up going home a few weeks later. It restored his kidney function. Outstanding result. So the FDA, following that, did give us approve a protocol to treat Ebola here in the U.S. Ebola never came back to the U.S. Or never came to the U.S. in that outbreak, nor has it happened in this outbreak. But there tends to be excitement when there is an Ebola outbreak around our stock. We're traded on the NASDAQ, by the way, the ticker aemd. So if it breaks, and we also have an approved protocol in Canada by Health Canada. If there is an outbreak and people are direly ill, there could be a place for us to help here in the U.S. I have focused the company on, I mean, it's great to be a fireman, but if there are no fires, you're just you're burning cash, paying people salaries, doing research. So I have focused the company on cancer. It's it's a real market. I've had relatives, including my sister, die from cancer. We all know people that have had cancer. It's a real serious market that unfortunately happens every day. So I mentioned this small safety trial that we're doing. Took a while to get it off the ground, but I'm pleased to report we're more than 2/3 of the way through it. It's small, it's a safety trial looking at changes in some markers, but the concept is removing these EVs help the body fight against metastasis, the spread of cancer. Um, so that's our hypothesis. Keytruda and Opdivo, these anti-PD-L1 drugs, which are world-class, best-selling drugs in the world, like a $74 billion, I believe that's the revenue assumption for them this year. They only work 30 to 40% of the time, which is great for that 30 to 40%, but the 60 to 70% where it doesn't work, not so great. So our hypothesis is if we can help with our device, some of those patients actually improve, that would be very good for our little company and for our shareholders.
Okay, so just we wrap up here. So just to confirm, the study is ongoing right now, and you're hoping to finish that. Do you have an end date for that? And that'll really sort of talk about the next stage of where you're headed, right?
There are three cohorts or phases. The first cohort is just one treatment in a week. Second cohort is two treatments, let's say a Monday and a Friday. And the third cohort, the one we're in now, is three treatments, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it's just three patients in each cohort. We finished the first two. We've already treated the first patient in cohort 3. So we're hoping sometime this summer to have wrapped up cohort 3. There's a massive amount of data to go through. We're using a world-class lab at University of Sydney to analyze the blood from these patients, but we're looking before, during, and after the treatments, and then subsequent snapshots in time going out, I think, 8 weeks. So there's a lot of data. We're looking at EV changes, T cell marker changes, the immune system effectively. So vis-a-vis milestones, finishing the third cohort should, if things go well, just be 2 more patients. Finishing going through the data, statistically analyzing it, and then publishing our final report, which we'll probably submit to the Australian version of the FDA, which is called the TGA, and our FDA here in the United States. So this could all happen, this year in 2026.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Jim, thanks very much. Really interesting stuff. Appreciate your time, and we look forward to following the story as it develops. It is a very interesting one for sure. Thanks again.
Thank you for tracking us.
All right. There's James Frakes. He's the CEO of Aethlon Medical.